Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing episode 2 of the Legendary Tournament Game series on the channel. I had a lot of positive feedback from that first video, but I decided to kind of change right away the direction of the series. I wanted to initially do mostly my games, but I had some criticism that it turns out to be a little bit more like it's flexing rather than showing legendary games. So although I do have some really nice games in the past in tournaments, I will mix my own games with games from other players, and I'll also tackle some of the Empire Wars tournaments, just because Red Bull sponsoring Empire Wars is a very big part of the recent history of Age of Empires 2. So with that being said, this is episode 2, and we're going to be taking a look at the legendary game between Doubt and Leary, best of 7 grand finals from Red Bull Woodlow 3. Absolutely insane game here on Acclivity, and it's going to be with Empire War settings. If you guys are not familiar with what Empire Wars is, you can take a look at the screen right now. The game has just started in Feudal Age for both players. They have 27 villagers and a pretty established base, so it's a very fast-paced, yet it's the same from here on out. It's the same like any other random map game. You just start a little bit more developed than normal. How do I want to set this up for you guys? Game 7, 3-3. It's the finals, so winner of this takes home the trophy, the third edition of Red Bull Woodlow. And of course, we've got Leary, who has won a previous Woodlow as well. Doubt, who has never won a Woodlow previously to this. And Doubt has never won a tournament on DE. So since Definitive Edition came out, he's never won an S tier tournament. So this is a really big stage for Doubt, who is, in and himself, a legendary player. And he's been playing for, 10, 20 years now. But it's still a really big moment. So despite his very long and very successful career, he still finds himself in another situation where he needs to overcome yet another obstacle here in Leary, who's proven to be extremely solid for Red Bull settings and just in general as a player. So without further ado, let's hop right in and take a look at this legendary Game 7, and I'll break it down for you guys. And commentating, we've got T90 and Dave again, and this is going to be on the Red Bull YouTube channel. We'll leave a link to the Red Bull video if you guys want to check it out without my commentary as well. Let's hop right in and take a look and see exactly what happens in this game. Stay tuned and let's check it out.
What a moment.
I'm finding it hard to keep a smile off my face. Like, this is, where else would you want to be right now? But the grand finals of this event, we're in game number 7, and it's Doubt versus Leary, Tristan, in 2021. Wow, what an impressive showing from both these players. Leary will be opening with the archery range as the Tatars, and Doubt, I don't see anything for him yet.
Nothing? Staying on a barrack. So if he hasn't added a range yet, my thought process is he wants to go with an early market, and he wants to go cast like greedily. But he's up against Leary. And Leary's known for piling on pressure early. Is this too greedy, maybe?
So right off the bat here, we see that the casters are setting the stage for us. It's going to be Mayans for Doubt versus Leary's Tatars. Now, as Acclivity, it's a very open map. You can see that Leary already going very aggressive here. Archery range into stable, the best Feudal Age composition that he can possibly field. But Doubt, like the casters were saying, just walling up here. Nothing too crazy from him, not trying to take any risks early, wanted to stay safe. However, it's a little greedy because he's not making any units besides just a couple Eagle Warriors. But we can see Leary here, perhaps a little bit slow to pressure with his archers, respecting the Eagles, because, of course you can't just run into them if there's 3 Eagles on the map. And so Doubt gets enough time to wall that front at the very least. Let's see what Leary can do with his pressure though. He needs to find some damage because he's investing into a lot of military, but maybe he can break around the side or cause some idle time or even hit villagers over like the top of the walls. All that can be really solid plays for Leary, even though Doubt can be fully walled. And Leary has some options back home as well. He can easily just decide to go up to the next age if he finds no damage at all. So let's see what Doubt goes for here. As you see Leary kind of turning back, he didn't really find too much damage there.
Only Doubt would think, oh, Empire Wars, against Leary, ooh, really aggressive player. What's the best strategy here? Oh, I know, I'll just wall, and I'll go fast castle into plumed archers. We'll see if it can work out for him. Important to note that he did add a few extra eagles from his barracks, so he does have some presence in the middle of the map to potentially stop any army from Leary coming around. But Doubt will be clicking to the castle age. Leary's resources looking okay, but he's going to be behind.
I guess since Mayans don't have cav archers, you've got to go plumes.
Closest thing. I mean, if he was Vietnamese, I'm sure he'd go Rattan archers as well. I mean,
like-
whatever's closest.
I don't know if you guys hear that banging, but I can hear Hera's head banging against his wall all the way up there in Canada. Because Hera's so outspoken. Never Cav archers. And Doubt's been winning with Cav archers. Never plumed archers. And Doubt's in the finals against Leary, about to try plumed archers. And I think it's so bold and so crazy that Leary is expecting full eagle. And I don't think he ever expect to see plumed archers.
It's actually crazy to hear my name reference here. I completely forgot about that. So it's like a 5D chess from T90. He knew I was going to review this game. He knew that a year from now, Hera's reviewing this game. Let's give him a little shout out there. But he is right, though. I actually personally hate Cav archers. Plumed archers, I'm not a huge fan of them. But here we see Doubt going for plumed archer. What do I know? He's in the grand finals here. And he's going to be going plumed archers into Leary's aggression here. Of course, it's not to say that he's, completely safe. He's going to get his unique unit, and there's nothing that Leary can do. Leary still has a really big window of pressure because Doubt, he's investing a lot into stone. He's going to have to build the castle yet, get the upgrades for the plumed archers. He's very far from fielding an army to defend what Leary has. So Leary still has the pressure going into Castle Age. As you see, both players going for the click up here. Doubt gets there a minute and a little bit ahead of Leary, and Castle right on the front here. Beautiful castle position from Doubt. Right on the front, it secures 2 wood lines. It also secures the front of his base. The only thing, though, on acclivity, guys, you don't have a lot of gold in your base. So at some point, Doubt's going to have to move out to the sides, or at least to different areas of the map to get more gold access here, because that's a very important part of this map. So going on to the Castle Age now, what is Leary looking for? He's going to get bloodlines. He's got the option of Cav archers that, the casters have mentioned. He could go for some knights. He can go for some crossbows because he massed some archers in the Feudal Age. Doubt pretty much only can do plumed archers right now because he's invested so much into getting that castle up. We do see 2 stables from Leary though, so it's looking like a knight approach. Maybe scared of those eagles. Maybe just wants knights in general. Looks like he's going to go knights and crossbows. Very aggressive opening from Leary. Doubt taking it slow with a castle and a town center. Let's take a look what happens in early Castle Age here.
Plumed archers is not seen frequently. Leary being patient here with his archers, Dave, just waiting a bit. That way Doubt doesn't see him until it's too late.
Yeah, let's see if Doubt notices this as Leary comes in. Notices it right away. So great job from Doubt. And, Tristan, you two told me you were a hype caster, but you had a lot of negatives to say about this plumed archer strategy from Doubt. All the weaknesses there.
It's not, listen, it's the reality. There's a pro and con. Plumed archer's the better archer. All right? The better archer, man. But how do you use it? You've got to defend right now, and you don't have as many units. Doubt hitting Leary's base with his eagles and his plumes. He's going to get behind Leary's wood line. And Leary trying to pick off vills, and he hasn't been able to find any picks just yet.
Look at the absolute beautiful defense from Doubt. He's lost 0 villagers, barely idling his economy. He's shifted his villagers away. He's just finding areas where he can take resources without having to respond to Leary's army. So Leary went for this massive aggression, and he's found very little damage so far, despite being able to break into Doubt's base. Doubt notices a chance to go for a counterattack. Most players would just stick on defense here because there's so much pressure coming in from Leary, a guy who's known for his aggression. But Doubt decides to go for a counterattack. He wants to make the game hard for Leary, and he knows that he doesn't need his army to defend because he's defending with the structures and with the smart positioning of his villagers. So beautiful defense from Doubt here, really showing what minimalistic defense can really accomplish if you're just a little bit smart and a little bit tactical with your positioning. Counterattack, of course, will get stopped by Leary because Leary is heavily committing into army, does have some knights to defend. But of course, Doubt should have the economy lead by this point, especially with the mines. We do see him up 5 villagers. Leary might find his first pick here. Still doesn't get it. He's yet to kill a single villager. Absolutely insane here. Let's take a look at the commentary again, see what's going on. My bad.
Just now getting to a second town center as well. And Leary's been unlucky. There's quite a few villagers that are on low HP currently. So Doubt was close to losing some. What do you always say about plumes, Dave? You've got to keep that mass alive, right? It does take a long time to produce them. Even for a long time back in the day, we'd see players forget Bodkin arrow. They just boom, keep the plumes massing, and then eventually get Bodkin arrow with crazy eco. You talked about Mayan privilege all the time, Dave, where Mayans can get away with so much, and Doubt has gotten away with it here so far.
Yeah, and he's building up that mass. I think he's thinking about taking a good engagement against the crossbows and the knights. It's going to be a little bit tougher, though. It would be easy against the crossbows, but with these knights mixed in, especially with that hill mixed in against Tatars,
Yeah.
I feel like there's potential here for you to misjudge an engagement and maybe throw away too many plumes.
Leary doesn't have ballistics. He only has 9 crossbows. Doubt has 18 plumed archers with ballistics. But that is quite a few knights. So like you said, patience is needed. And look at Leary. He's trying to dodge those shots so his crossbowman can do the work for him. And this is something you would expect from Leary. You just would never expect it to be up against plumes. Such a weird moment. And Leary with a good fight there, Dave.
Yeah.
Big moment here. So as you can see, Doubt tried to take the fight here, but Leary just simply has more military right now. Doubt did wait for ballistics, so his plume archers are getting amazing value versus knights. We did see a little bit of dancing from Leary trying to dodge out the ballistics there. And in the end, it seems like a pretty even trade. Maybe slightly favored for Leary, but certainly not bad for Doubt. He lost Eagles, which he didn't really care about. And now he's going to continue making plumed archers and continue to boom. Might even go for a counterattack now, as once again, he's kind of disrespecting what Leary has to offer, just because Doubt has lost very little villagers, only the first 2 going down right now. So Leary's army, although it may look scary, it's really not that, not that threatening to what Doubt has and Doubt's setup right now. Doubt also looking pretty decent in terms of his setup with the 3rd town center now, and also getting a monastery to start picking up relics potentially, and maybe just something to defend against knights. But Leary continues to attack here with some crossbows. It is worth mentioning that there is no ballistics for Leary here. So his crossbows, although they have thumb ring with Tatars for free, there's no ballistics, and they're going to be a little bit harder to micro against the moving targets, of course. But Leary all over Doubt right now. He's trying to find damage. He's not been passive. He's been trying to find as much damage as possible. It's just Doubt. Look at his reactions. It's perfect every time. Lost very little villagers. Bringing his plumed archers back now, though. Might be looking for something special here. See if we can get a really nice fight and clear up Leary's army, as Leary picks up a villager on the left-hand side now.
Eagles. This would be great for him.
Oh, this is nerve-wracking if you're a Doubt fan. On the right side, Doubt is going out for a TC. He has quite a few plumed archers, but there's knights over there as well. So if Doubt loses this engagement, the TC could potentially be denied, Tristan, and his plumed archer numbers could be wiped up. Leary taking a really good fight here.
Thankfully, I think the TC goes up, Dave. A few villagers will go down, but Doubt will be able to remain with some plumes. The TC garrisons, but Doubt, get your plumes back towards your main base. Gotta be careful. These knights have +2. I can't help but feel like maybe Doubt didn't realize the knights had +2. Leary happy with these fights, I'm sure.
Fantastic decision from Leary to go double stable to complement the crossbows as well. It's done so much for him. The Blooms just can't take a straight up engagement, and while he's taking these big fights, he could send a couple knights here or there. I saw him killing villagers on the left before, and he's raiding right now in Doubt's economy with a couple knights. So he's applying all sorts of pressure in a very Leary-like fashion right now.
Highly agree with what Dave is saying here. Big moment for Leary as he kills a few villagers and also thins down a lot of plumes from Doubt. Although Leary is trading his knights, he's trading against a unit that requires a castle to mass. So it's a pretty decent trade, and Doubt lost a lot of pressure on the map, losing his plume mass, whereas if Leary just makes a few more knights, he can easily continue to pressure. Vill count still quite similar. I do believe that's Doubt's 4th town center, by the way. So it's a really big boom from Doubt coming through. So although he's losing some villagers, he does have 4 TC set up, whereas Leary only has 3. It's not a big advantage, but it's something worth mentioning. Leary continues to try to make something happen with the knights now, and as we can see, Doubt looking for the next stage of the game, picking up some relics, and is continuing to mass some plumed archers right now. But yeah, definitely a very interesting setup here for Doubt overall. And I will say, if Leary wants to find some more damage, he's probably going to need to switch into something like skirmishers, and there it is. Skirmisher switch from Leary coming through. The reason for that is right now, since he lost his crossbow mass, it's not worth remassing crossbows. It's better to switch to skirmishers because it's just a better unit versus plumed archers right now. You don't want to waste time massing crossbow, which is just not the best unit into plumed archers. And knights are good, but pure knights doesn't do a whole lot, because if you're pure knights, Doubt can just hide and he never really has to fight you. Whereas skirmishers with the range can force fights or at least get some damage from a distance here. So wheelbarrow coming in for Leary now. The game will transition into a little bit more of a late castle age, early imp. Leary, could put the pressure. Doubt has enough for a second castle here. Let's see where he just has to put it. Pretty big moment in the game. Doubt still has to hold on a little bit longer because Leary still has more army on the field right now.
And he's got some monks around. Doubt with 1 relic. Doubt with 13 plumes. Leary investing further into castle age, going for fully upgraded elite skirmisher. The only thing that he's going to miss then is the ballistics upgrade.
Yeah, that feels like something you're gonna want later in the game too. So that's a pretty good upgrade from Leary. He goes forward with these skirmishers, trying to look for a good engagement against the plumed archers, and Doubt might lose his numbers again after he's built them back up.
Dave, I'm starting to get a little concerned for Leary. And I know everything you just said is true and skirms are great, but what can Mayans so easily switch into if they have access to gold?
Yeah, Eagles. Yikes.
Yeah, and then you have elite skirm mainly. I mean, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah, well, I don't see Doubt thinking about Eagles yet. I haven't seen any upgrades come in for him. Looks still like plumed archers, and it looks like he's maybe thinking about going up to the Imperial Age, looking at his resources.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and one thing I really need to talk about here, and this is not just for this game in particular, it's Mayans in general. Great point from the casters here. Eagle switch is just so deadly. When you're on plumes, you have two options. Either you double down on plumes, like if your opponent is not making any skirmisher, you just double down on plumes. And like plume is just an insane unit. Like it's so flexible, so mobile, so tanky. But if your opponent switches to skirmishers, goes heavy on skirms to counter your plumes, you have such an easy transition to eagles, assuming you have gold access. It's the only thing you need to make that eagle switch. It's very cheap to spam them out. You just need a couple expensive upgrades and then you can easily flood. But in this case, Doubt's going up to Imperial Age right now, and he is not going for that eagle switch right away. He still has the option. He could always do it if he wants to, but he's sticking on plumes for the time being. He wants to see what Leary has in store for us, and this is where the economy from Doubt has kicked in. He's up to Imp and Leary is not. Leary is in fact very far from Imperial Age and still doesn't have the right map control that he wants if he wants to play a full Castle Age kind of game. You know, he does have a little bit of army right now, but Leary's army is going to be extremely obsolete as soon as Imperial Age upgrades come in for Doubt. So Eagle Switch is a big thing to watch out for. Leary really smart with the raids there. Leaving a knight there is actually really, really insane. So going to get a pretty good amount of value from that one knight and make the game as messy as possible from Doubt. Leary's game plan, if he's behind this much in terms of the development to Imperial Age, he needs to deny Doubt gold. If Doubt gets to Imperial Age without any gold, I mean, he's still going to be okay, a pretty good spot, but he's not going to be able to turbo out the win or anything like that. So Leary still has a pretty good chance in this game. He just needs to be as aggressive as possible. We see him looking for damage here with the knights. Good reaction from Doubt, though, only loses 2 villagers. And Doubt doubling down with the plumes. He does have 2 castles here. And for now, it's going to be a plumed archer opening, probably with, brace your chemistry kind of set up in Imperial Age. And I'm not sure if he has Thumb Ring yet, but that could be something to pick up if he didn't pick it up yet. Let's take a look at what happens in early Imp here with Doubt getting there very soon.
For Tatars, you could honestly justify their Hussar with silk armor because they get insane pierce armor with maybe... do you go Hussar Cavalier or maybe Hussar Cav Archer? I guess he'll have to start with one thing and then switch out.
Well, he's going to have to start with going to the Imperial Age first because Doubt's about to be there. Doubt will click Thumb Ring here to upgrade his plumes, and I don't see the eagle switch that you were talking about, Tristan. He's perfectly content to just keep massing plumes.
Yeah, he's struggling as he's sending some plumes to the back now. He's struggling to get some TCs up on these stones and golds, and that's something Leary's done a tremendous job with. And here's a fight that Leary will like because these plumes are not fully upgraded yet, and they're pretty far from it, actually. Doubt has to back away from that one.
Yeah, maybe this fight will convince Doubt that he needs something else.
Yeah.
Because Leary is trading pretty well with just pure Castle Age units. I don't know why Doubt's taking that still.
Yeah, so this is a really big moment here. Basically, Leary is going all in Castle Age for the time being, but is stockpiling enough resources to click up to Imperial Age back home. So he is putting the pressure right now because he has more resources invested into military since Doubt invested a lot into Imperial Age. But now Leary's going to click up to Imperial Age. So now Leary's pressure will start to fizzle out. He no longer has those resources that he just used to click Imperial Age. So he, his army right now, it's all that he has. He has to slowly remass at home. And Doubt has, for the first time in this game, the chance to really push back. It's not a counterattack, it's a chance to push back. He's got the choice now. He can stay on plumes, he can go for eagles. He decides to stick on elite plumes right now, picks up that massive upgrade. It's very expensive in terms of food and wood, but it does come up really clutch and it gives a lot of extra stats. Look at the reaction from Doubt. He's got an outpost and just reacts to everything. It's absolutely insane. Reacts to these 2 knights as well. Great play from Doubt here as he looks to transition into more of a push right now. He does want to start to clear up these raids and then look for some aggression himself to try to win the game. As you can see, already getting some plumed archers everywhere. Leary gets him to Imperial Age now. He's a minute and a half away and is teching into foraging. So we already know he's on skirmishers. He might be on skirmisher Cavalier, maybe skirmisher Hussar eventually with the Tatars. He's got a ton of options. Let's see what he does decide to go for. Maybe even Keshik if you do have castles. But right now, I think it's like one castle from Leary. Yeah, one castle from Leary. Nothing too crazy here. And Doubt always has that eagle switch and is teching into armor right now. Is it going to be eagles or halbs? Both options are pretty good with elite plumes. Both options are extremely viable. Let's take a look here and see what happens.
Bank up golds, then switch into eagle. Halb might be the wiser move, but eagle's is the deadlier move.
Yeah, and eagle's more of a raiding unit where you can hit the sides. But at the same time, you can do that with your own plumes. And we get our answer right here. He is going to start upgrading his eagles. It'll take some time, though, to get those fully upgraded, to get the production buildings in there, and to get eagles onto the map. And that's time that Leary needs to start building up his army. We were asking all sorts of questions about what Leary would go for. Keshiks are a decent answer to eagles, but not so much to plumed archers.
Yeah, it took Doubt. So when Doubt hit Imp, he spent a lot of time fully upgrading the unit he had committed towards. Leary's going to have to do a similar thing for a bit. So he's currently getting the skirm upgrades. And then he can worry about something else. But Doubt's economy, he has 149 villagers with Mayans. The resources last longer with Mayans. Like, that is such an overboom. And I genuinely feel like if Doubt is 31 on gold, pretty soon he can delete 30 or so villagers for pop space and just send in 30, 40, 50 elite eagles and end this game. El Dorado will give those eagles 100 HP. Leary doesn't even have the imp armor upgrade for his knights yet. Cavalier's not even on the way.
There's so much yellow on the map right now, Tristan, and the map control looks great, but I'm getting very, very nervous for Leary because El Dorado is such a strong technology. And we can see Doubt already producing those eagles. I just hope that Doubt immediately sends the eagles to raid because I think he has the potential to do so much damage to Leary's economy.
Really big moment of the game here. What do I always talk about, guys? If you're in Imperial Age and you've got the chance to go for a double gold composition, you are in a great position, but you have to end the game relatively quickly because double gold will run out of steam as soon as the gold runs out, which on standard maps tends to be quite quickly. But on this map, there's a lot of extra gold on the sides, so going for a double gold composition is actually very good, especially with Mayans where the gold lasts longer. And so having that extra gold on the side, the Mayans bonus, Doubt is able to field plumed archers and eagles at the same time. Mind you, he's on 150 villagers right now, so he's got a ton of resources coming in, but he probably wants to slowly start deleting villagers, not right away, but when he gets to 200 pop, he can slowly start to delete villagers, make space. Look at those El Dorado eagles coming on the field right now. 100 HP, absolutely beastly units, and look at the race from Doubt on the left-hand side as well. Plumes are everywhere, eagles are everywhere, and for those who don't know, El Dorado eagles do pretty good against Cavalier. They destroy skirmishers, and they're amazing at raiding. So Cavalier can beat them if you have a lot of them, but if there's more eagles on the field, they're going to have a really good time right now. And not even counting the fact that they might have plumes to support them, it's such a beastly composition from Doubt, and he's wasting no time, going straight for the raids, straight for the fights, looking to force the situation. But of course, Leary, he's doing what he can. He's getting some counterattacks, wherever possible, and really trying to find as much damage around the map, and also trying to defend his base at the same time. A lot going on for both players here. Let's see the rest of the game as it plays out.
50 on food and 27 on gold for Leary, but I would hate this position. If Doubt just switches into Halb Eagle, Leary can't do anything.
And Leary now raiding on the right side of Doubt's economy, but Doubt going for that forward mining camp, also has a castle foundation over there. Doubt might actually thank Leary for this raid. He had too many villagers. With Mayans, you can justify having anywhere from 90 to 110 villagers with your final army composition in Imperial Age. So killing a few there will not hurt Doubt all that much, and the eagles are still coming.
This is something that Doubt needs to make sure he deals with. That castle in the middle, every time he runs by that, he's losing HP on his eagles, and he has got his gather point set there. He wants to destroy the castle with the eagle warriors. I think a few rams would be really helpful for him as he's chasing down the raid from Leary. And then on the left side of Leary's eco, we have plumes and eagles in. And this is why I was so worried for Leary. Doubt has consistently more eco. He is consistently more on gold. He has a more, I'd say, a better mix with plumes and eagles, and the Cavalier just aren't cutting it. And
Yep.
so this is all before the Halberdier switch would come in. Leary is he's gonna have to have some crazy raids, but also have to defend himself from the raids incoming from Dell.
Yeah, he's gonna have to secure some gold control too. His golds are looking awfully exposed, especially with plumes running around. That's probably his safest one back there. The plumes are right beside it. He's done an amazing job to stay in, to produce Cavalier and to take some decent fights. But Doubt with the Eagles, like you said early, Tristan, just seems like Tatars don't have an answer to this.
I know. And it was so risky, Dave. It was so risky, man. It's never been seen before in this event. And he saved it for game 7. That's just incredible. I mean, it's one thing to have 1 or 2 strats and 1 or 2 games where you have some tricks planned and some anti-meta strats, but it's been half the games that Doubt has played in this tournament. I am speechless right now. If he's able to finish off the game this way, no one would have expected Mayans here. He is getting raided, and Leary is still holding on. Leary at 135 pop and Doubt at 170.
Yeah, but I saw some spearmen in the queue from Doubt, so maybe he's thinking about teching into pikemen now, teching into halberdier, just in case Leary gets a big army of Cavalier and manages to take some good fights against the Eagles. Oh boy, but the Eagles are taking great fights against the Cavalier. Feels like Leary's on a clock right now. He needs to make something happen soon with these Cavalier. Otherwise, Doubt will take the Red Bull Wallow 3 championship.
Yeah, it's exactly as I was mentioning earlier as well with the Eagles, right? You could take really good fights with the Eagles against Cavalier. It's not like Cavalier counter Eagles. Now Doubt goes for pikes. What can Tatars even do? They can't. Leary can't just switch into Cav Archers. He's so far from that. He's stuck on Cavalier. Doubt can easily make his way to Halberdier. It's just such a counter matchup right now. Like from this exact position, Tatars have literally no options. They have no counter to what Mayans can throw at them. It's a beautifully well played game from Doubt, excuse me, and even a well played game from Leary as well. It's not like he made a ton of basic mistakes that put him in this position. It was really a tactical masterpiece from Doubt and a beautiful defense as well to get himself in this position where now Tatars don't really have a lot of options to go for here. Leary trying to hold on, but of course the flood from Doubt. Look at the gold control and the GG is called. Let's take one last look at the casters here before I talk.
Won the championship.
Unbelievable. He beat Mr. Yo in the first round 3-1 using strategies that no one had seen before. Mr. Yo was Red Bull Wallow 1 champion. Makes it to the finals. And then he beats Leary, who was Red Bull Wallow 2 champion, with unique strategies, unique civilizations, and excellent gameplay. He's the oldest participant in this event. He's been around longer than virtually anyone. And he's like a fine wine, Dave. He just keeps getting better. This is a great moment for him. I can't wait to speak to him. It's a great moment for fans. And while we're excited for Doubt, respect to Leary as well, because what a finals he was able to bring us. This could have gone either way, Dave, with a few moments here or there.
Like 3 straight big tournament finals in a row for Leary as well.
Yeah.
His quality is undeniable. And we thought going into this, like everyone thought Leary was probably unstoppable, especially after he made it through Hera. Like, who's going to stand in his way? And Doubt was in the corner with his hand up going, me? I'm going to stay in his way. And he took game number 7. So impressive. Let's go to the statistics, see what it can tell us about this game.
Oh, I'm supposed to have something to say. Oh my, wow. Okay, sorry. We'll get there. 322 kills. Military count. This really only happened in the Imperial Age for Doubt, but much higher than Leary. Economically, Doubt, who for a while there was being deprived of gold by Leary with those knights and crossbows. Doubt ended up with the most gold, plenty of wood, plenty of stone.
Yeah, and this is where I want to end the game scene as well in the video. Take a look at this last stat here, guys. More gold collected for Doubt, and that's really the big idea for Acclivity, and that's really why he was able to win the game in the end. But it's not so much only that, it's also the wood and the food that was very competitive for Doubt. Doubt had a lot more wood, the better economy, and got to the better units, and obviously with gold, mines are completely unstoppable. Beautiful game from Doubt here, a legendary game. as legendary as they come. You know, you had everything. It was last game of the finals. You had an underdog versus the favorites. Doubt, who's in himself a legend of the game as well. So it was just a really, really big moment. The atmosphere from the fans, I know we couldn't see the chat right now, but it was completely wild. Everyone couldn't believe that Doubt just did this. Doubt just beat Leary. Viper's out of the tournament. Yo's out of the tournament. Doubt took out Yo. I lost to Leary. You know, a lot of the other names you might expect to have in the finals are completely gone. And it's Doubt versus Leary. And Doubt manages to take it with Plumed Archers and Eagles with Mayans. Crazy game from him, really well played, and it's been a pleasure to review it here a year or so later. So guys, thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the second episode of my legendary games, legendary tournament game series on YouTube. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to drop a like on the video and to also comment below what game you want to see next time. The only rule is that it has to be after DE, so it has to be DE onwards. And other than that, I'll review any amazing tournament game from the past. I actually really enjoyed doing this series, and it's, like I said, been a pleasure. Thanks for watching the video. Catch you guys later. Peace.